The Kansas City Chiefs are getting ready to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm going to break down the one thing that the Kansas City Chiefs need to do in this game to win against the Jaguars. And guys, I think there's going to be a very large number of media personalities telling you one thing when the truth is quite another. So far this season, the Jaguars have been on an absolute tear creating turnovers. In week 1 versus the Panthers, they went up against Bryce Young and they picked him off twice. The Panthers also had an additional fumble. That is 3 turnovers in a game. If you can force 3 turnovers in a game, you win a lot of the time. Then you had them go against the Texans and C.J. Stroud. They picked C.J. Stroud off twice, and he lost a fumble. I don't know if he lost a fumble. The team, someone on that team, lost a fumble. That's another 3 turnovers. Then against the Bengals, Jake Browning threw 3 interceptions, and the Jaguars lost. And then the 49ers, Brock Purdy had 2 interceptions and 2 fumbles lost somewhere along the way for those 49ers as the Jaguars acquired their 3rd win of the season. They have a 3-1 record, forcing 13 turnovers along the way. So a lot of places in the media, what you're going to get this week is people saying you have to protect the ball against the Jaguars. You have to protect the ball against the Jaguars. If you let the Jaguars into the game via turnovers, you're going to lose the ball game. That is not true, and I'm going to tell you why. This is the Pro Football Reference page for Trevor Lawrence. So far this season, 4 games, 58% completion percentage, not the greatest, 845 yards, decent number there, 5 touchdowns, decent number there. But one thing that you're going to notice is absent from this graphic is this. Oh no, why isn't that not? Okay, hold on. Right there. 4 INTs. He has thrown 4 interceptions himself. Yes, I just wanted to use the graphic because I figured out how to use a pin on my computer screen, and I think it makes me look intelligent. So that's why I did this whole stunt here. But Trevor Lawrence throws interceptions. 4 games, 4 interceptions. He's going to give you opportunities to take the ball away as well. And the Chiefs have not been the greatest at creating turnovers this season, but they have done some of that. So the turnover battle is not going to be where this game is won or lost, because really, let's look at the games the Jaguars have played this season. You're looking at the Panthers. Not a good team. Not a very good team. Bryce Young, not Patrick Mahomes. That is not Patrick Mahomes quarterbacking the Panthers, is it? So, maybe you forced him into a couple of interceptions. Congratulations. I think I had 2 of their games backwards there. Yeah, so in week 2, they played the Bengals. And they lost to the Bengals. And you think, okay, well, you know, the Bengals can jump up and bite some people. The Bengals with Joe Burrow. No, we just went over that. It wasn't Joe Burrow. It was Jake Browning that was the quarterback for the Bengals. And he threw 3 interceptions, and the Jaguars still found a way to lose. Browning and Mahomes are very different last names. These are not the same quarterback. Then you get to the Texans, and you have a 17-10 win for the Jaguars. Well, the Texans are an up-and-coming team, except for this year, and C.J. Young is an up-and-coming quarterback, except for this year. Okay, and then you have a win, a 5-point win versus the 49ers here. The 49ers are a good football team, right? But they were on their 2nd best quarterback. That's right, Brock Purdy was in that game. Brock Purdy, not Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes has beaten Brock Purdy in the past, hasn't he? So, a lot of people, a lot of places are going to say that the turnover battle is what is going to win or lose this game. I think that is absolutely a false equivalence, because the schedule that the Jaguars have played is not the schedule that the Chiefs have played. The Chiefs doing pretty good protecting the football. The Jaguars doing a worse job protecting the football than are the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs might not create the most turnovers, but had the Jaguars played the Chiefs' schedule to date, would they have the number of turnovers that they have forced? I very highly doubt it. So what is the key to winning this game? In my opinion, it is right here. Travis Etienne. If we go back up and we look at these scores, you're looking at 27. You're looking at 26 points, fairly decent, right? That's 3 touchdowns, a couple field goals. 27 points, 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, miss an extra point, whatever it is. 17 points, that's 2 touchdowns and a field goal. 26 points, the same in league. 26, 27, 27. Now, far be it from me to point fingers and say this is not an explosive offense when the offense we've watched in Kansas City for a couple years now, not particularly explosive, but this is not a particularly explosive offense so far this season. Doing some good things, putting together some drives, capitalizing on turnovers. What happens if Patrick Mahomes does not give them extra possessions? What happens if Patrick Mahomes does not give them short fields? What happens if the Kansas City Chiefs get out to a bit of a lead, as I think all of us believe after last week with the return of Xavier Worthy, with the return of the high-powered offense here in Kansas City, can happen. It's going to take Travis Etienne right out of the game, and that's a good thing. This is a 9.12 RAS score. That is a very good score, especially when you consider his 5'10" height is a 4.75 out of 10 score. Now, I am not a proponent of tall running backs. I think that taller running backs have a harder time because the center of gravity is higher and is more difficult to keep your balance. So 5'10", I think, is basically the perfect height for a running back, whether it has a red score or not. 215 pounds, very good size there. 4.45 speed, 1.56, 10-yard split, very good numbers there. And you have a mixed bag with the explosive numbers. He has a bad vertical leap, 33.5 inches, but a good broad jump with 10 foot 8 inches. This is what you have to stop in order to stop the Jaguars. And I think it is a little bit of a chicken or an egg situation, because you are not looking at a guy who is going to, because you're looking at a guy who plays in an offense that has had extra opportunities so far this year. So, that week one game versus Carolina, 143 yards and 8.9 average per carry. 8.9 yards average each time you turn around and hand the ball off to Travis Etienne. I keep wanting to call him Trevor. You're getting 8.9 yards. Why would you stop? There's no reason to do anything else at that point. Over here, look at this. Not a whole lot of targets, not a whole lot of receptions, not a whole lot of receiving yards. One thing that we have seen Spagnuolo's defense be very good with doing over the past few years is when a player is one-dimensional, he can take them away. If a running back cannot catch the football, he can shut him down. If a wide receiver is just a speed guy, normally he can shut him down. If a wide receiver is just a tall guy, normally he can shut him down. If a quarterback can't run at all, Spags is going to blitz the daylights out of him. If a quarterback is a better runner than he is a passer, well, ask Lamar Jackson how that goes. The Cincinnati loss, he had 71 yards on 14 attempts, a 5.1 yard average. Still a pretty good game. Against Houston, he had a 56-yard performance with a 3.5 yard average. And you see there that against Houston, they only scored 17 points. And against San Francisco, he went off for 124 yards on 19 carries, a very good 6.5 yard average. Now, can the Chiefs stop him? Well, in week one, Omarion Hampton ran 15 times for 48 yards. That's a 3.2 yard average. The Chiefs lost, but it was not a disaster of a game. It's not something that got away from the Kansas City Chiefs. There was a couple plays here, there were a couple plays there, and it didn't happen for the Chiefs. Derrick Henry went 8 for 42 and a 5.2 yard average. That's a pretty good average per carry, even for one of the greats of the game the past 10 years or so. It's a good average, but he was taken out of the game plan because the Chiefs had a lead. It was very, very difficult to keep running the football when the Chiefs were up by the score that they were up. And then you have Saquon Barkley, 22 carries, 88 yards, and a touchdown. Now, here's the one that gives me the most pause, actually. And you might say, how does that give you the most pause? That is not a particularly good... Did I ruin this whole video there? Well, I don't think there's too much on that side of the video. Anyway, I apologize for that. Saquon Barkley, 22 carries, 88 yards, 1 touchdown. Why does it give me pause that Saquon Barkley was held 12 yards under 100 yards for this game? Well, that's his best performance so far this season. The Eagles are, once again, as we have seen, being very, very, very close to what the Chiefs were last year, and their stars aren't really performing all that well. And I think we will see a great test of the Eagles' mettle during that mid-season. Will they go through a mid-season swoon, which the Kansas City Chiefs did not last year, and because they did not, they were able to keep it together. So that is what I believe is going to be the number one thing worth looking at here as the Chiefs go against the Jaguars, and if you can shut down Trevor Etienne or minimize him, then I think the Chiefs are going to win this football game. That is all I have for this video. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting a like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other Kansas City Chiefs fans. And if you find yourself here by chance but not design, the Chiefs are the only thing I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every single week. And as always, I hope to have you back for the next one.